Ask not what your country could do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. To thine own self be true, and it shall follow as the night the day. Thou canst not be false to any other. These words, these groups of words, have lasted forever. Why? Because of the energy and the meaning it had for so many. I have gratitude for being gifted 14 words a half century ago that literally transformed my thinking, my being, and my doing. But let me back the bus up a little bit and give you the birth story of those 14 words. You see, I was working as an assistant cook at a camp in upstate New York. I lived in downstate New York, so I was away from home so I can get away with some stuff. And I heard about this party that was coming. And this party was a 3-day music festival with a lot of people. And I'm like, I'm in. So I bought a ticket. I hitchhiked down to get the ticket. And I was ready. It's my turn. So I was going to hitchhike there. By the way, this party was called Woodstock.
Oh, great.
500,000 people. Picture 8 football fields worth of people. And so I hitchhiked, and it was raining, if you saw the movie, you know. And I had just turned 17. Well, let me tell you, I hitchhiked it was 2 days. It had taken a day. I hitchhiked and I got a ride. My last ride was on the luggage rack of a Corvette. And it went on, and then it stopped. It couldn't go any further because it literally turned into the New York State Thruway, turned into a parking lot. Well, I had to walk the last 13 miles. And I got closer and closer, and there was the stage. Oh my God, there's the stage, upon which would stand Janis and Jimmy and the Dead and the Who. And oh my God, wait a minute. There was a fence, and behind this bench, this bush, there was a hole. Now, my daddy didn't teach me much, but he taught me to get out of the rain. I climbed through that hole, walked towards the ramp, up the ramp, across the stage, and into what's called a Hanley sound truck. There was nothing in there but cables and me and dry. It was fantastic. Well, the next morning I woke up, and it was time for me to find a porta potty or a tree, and I walked across the stage. And as I walked across the stage, the guy goes, "Hey, what are you doing here?" I said, "It's okay. The guy said it's okay." He says, "I'm the guy. It's not okay. Get out of here." So now I've got to leave. And let me tell you, I looked over the fence. I could not believe how many people were there. So dejectedly, I'm leaving the stage, and over there in the corner of the stage is this guy sitting there, you know, cross-legged like this hippie thing. And he had a hairdo like a 747, this big afro thing. And he looked at me like he knew me, like he had a message for me. And he said, and here's the 14 words. He said, "Man, like you're either green and growing or ripe and rotting, but you're never standing still." I was like, okay. I didn't know what he was talking about, but I do now. It's the essence of total quality management, Six Sigma, all these fancy words, which means you're getting better and you're getting worser. And that really nailed me. Now, I tell you all of that to tell you this. 12 years after that, I started a business. It was a great idea. It was helping small business, woman-owned business, minority-owned business sell to the government because the government had money set aside. And our business was kicking butt. With very little startup, we were generating millions of dollars and doubling every year for 5 years. We had offices in 12 states and salespeople. It was great. But then the bank comes in, and they didn't like the way the cash flow was going. They got a little concerned, and one bank called in a note. Then another bank called in a note. And within 70 hours, I was insolvent. I was either going to have to sort of sell the business somehow or lose everything, including my house. Dejectedly, I flew home on a Friday night, as I always did, and I could not share this with my wife because she was pregnant, and we had already had 2 miscarriages, and I didn't want her to shoulder any of the burden. So that was Friday. Saturday was crazy, and Saturday night, I'm sitting outside under the stars, alone, well, just me and the big guy, and it hit me like, David, you're either green and growing or you're ripe and rotting, but you're never standing still. Because I was asking myself, how does this happen? I'm a good person. I'm studying sales and marketing. I'm doing what I can. How does this happen to a good person? David, you're either green and growing or ripe and rotting, but you're never standing still. And I was like, whoa. Yeah, I'm green and growing in sales and marketing because that's what I'm good at and that's what I'm reading. But I'm ripe and rotting when it comes to finance, accounting, forecasting, projecting. Wow. I asked my business, what do you need me to do? Who do you need me to be? And when I got the message of what I needed to do, I wrote down the core job functions. And who do I need to be? I wrote down the qualities and characteristics. And because I was getting real serious here, I got naked, but not stripped of clothing, stripped of ego. And I rated myself. Here I'm green and growing. Here I'm ripe and rotting. Yeah. And I asked myself, what do I need to do? Hey, what can I do to sell the business? Well, David, where are you green and growing? What do you need to learn and know? Who do you need to be? And I started to close the gaps. Wow. I actually went through that process. I call it illuminate. You know, you can't solve everything you face, but you can't solve anything unless you face it. And I developed that model based upon that hippie guy giving me those words. And I was able to sell the business. A company came in from Germany. They bought Doubleday Books, Bantam Books, Dell Books, RCA Records, Arista Records, and they bought my company. I didn't lose my house. I wish I could find that guy. I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. What you've done for me by taking inventory of what I need to know and taking responsibility and closing the gaps. And when you close the gaps, up goes your competence, and then up goes your confidence, and then up goes your competence, and you're going up the eensy beensy spider, but not up the water spout, but up the spout to prosperity, happiness, and fulfillment. I want to say thank you to him. Through that process of face it, follow it, and fix it, I wrote a dozen books. 4 of them made the Wall Street Journal bestseller list. 3 inventions, 2 internationally, and mentoring and all. And through me, I've been able to pass it on to scores of people. My friends, where are you green and growing? You know the song, you got to accentuate the positive. Where you're green and growing, accentuate the positive. Then the song says, eliminate the negative. No, don't eliminate the negative. Illuminate the negative. Take a good look, get naked with yourself, close the gaps, illuminate. From me to you, face it, follow it, and fix it. I'm David Corbin, and I endorse this message. Peace out, brothers and sisters. Thank you. Thank you.